So, and also for anybody who also needs it. Okay, so one of the things I want to talk with you guys about today that is important in helping you get focused on your work and not stuck a lot. So there are a few things that are going to be super helpful. And so I want to go over them. You might know a lot of this stuff, but you might not. And it's going to be a lot of little things. I will, maybe I should have some notes going so that I can just give you a list of items. So first of all, one of the most important elements in being effective in GIS is file management. You'll see in the class that I'll prompt students on file management. You guys are going to be more independent. I won't see your file structure unless you get into trouble and then ask me for help and we have a hangout together. And then I'll see your computer and I'll be like, oh wow, you just put all of that in your program files or whatever, right? So there are lots of things that you run into that will help if we sort of nip them in the bud. So one of the key elements, and why don't I just go right ahead right now and share my screen. One of the key elements is understanding where your files are. So, and for that, you need to use as a program. It's actually a core program in Windows. You need to use Windows Explorer. And all versions of Windows have Windows Explorer. And so I'm using Windows 7 here, and the this folder icon right down here opens Windows Explorer for me. And depending on the version of Windows you have, some of you may have 10, some of you might have one or another version of 8. Probably you all have. Who has 10 or 10? What do you guys have? Just so I know. 8?
7 at home, back to the computer.
Okay, so you have 7 and 8. What do you have, Tara? You have 7?
I think that is.
Oh God. I hope you don't. Oh yeah. No, you don't. You've upgraded. This is 10. Yeah. Okay. So it may be in a different 7, 8. There was a 9 or 10. I mean, Vista had it too. But so Windows Explorer, it's in all these versions. So what you're looking for then is this icon. And I think in most versions that you would have in front of you, it would be right on the taskbar. Does anybody not have it? Okay, so go ahead and click that and open it. So there's an important, a few important things to know about Windows Explorer. First of all, it allows you to see your files, right, and your folders. So it's important to know the difference between a file and a folder. And the names are just mean exactly the same thing that they mean when you're talking about a physical file or a folder. What is a folder for? Put things in, to put files, and sometimes other folders in, right? And so what you're looking at here is your filing cabinet, right? And your filing cabinet holds a bunch of folders, and inside those folders are files. In fact, if you have other drives connected, there are other filing cabinets, right? So over here in this pane, this is going to, it's showing your tree, your file tree, but it doesn't show files here, only folders and filing cabinets, only folders and drives. And so we'll start with the computer group here. So click on, open it and click on computer. And if you can't find it, let me know as soon as possible. This is mission critical.
This PC on there, is that?
This PC, yep,
Okay.
yep. Yeah, I think Windows 10 calls it this PC, yeah. And older ones, like XP, I think called it my computer. Okay, and so this refers to all your filing cabinets. This is essentially your office, right? So all your filing cabinets are in here. So all my drives are listed here. So I've got a networked drive right here that's in my office actually. I'm not connected to it right now. That's what the X means. There's my DVD drive, right? And so I can put a DVD in there and I can see what's in there. And here's my C drive. Mine's called OSC, and yours is called whatever it is, right? It might be like Susie's C drive or something. You can rename it. So it doesn't matter what it's called, but that C:, that's called your root directory. It's called your root directory. It's the directory where all of your installed programs typically are. You can install them in different drives, but typically, especially if you're working on a laptop, you probably only have one disk drive installed in your, one hard disk drive installed in your computer, and it's called C. So if you double click C and open it, now you see the file tree in your root directory, right? It's a common mistake that people make, and it often will confuse software that they'll just save everything in C. So all sorts of files. I'm not kidding. I had people, they either put everything in their documents folder, which has its own problems, or they put everything. I just formatted all these computers, and I discovered one of my students was doing that for some period of time. So there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of files just in this root directory, unorganized, just there. So anyway, I'm surprised I didn't catch that. I think they figured it out at some point and moved everything into a more reasonable directory. So when you look at this directory, you see a whole bunch of folders. And if you open a folder, so why don't we all click Program Files? You should have Program Files x86. Everybody should have that. Double click it. Okay, and so these are related to all your installed programs, right? And you can choose any random program. Maybe I'll choose Esri. And this is actually not all the installed programs, but you can keep clicking on folders, and eventually you get to the bottom, and there are files. Some folders have folders inside them, right? So when I click the Esri, double-clicked it, you might not have the data interoperability. This is something else I installed.
So we were supposed to install Esri?
You may not even have an Esri folder yet.
Okay.
Yeah. So don't worry about it. We're just, yeah. You're not supposed to look, it's not supposed to look like mine. Here's ArcGIS. You definitely have that. And if you go in the bin, actually bin 64 is the one I know I'm using. There's all these DLL files, and inside there are folders as well, and so on and so on and so on, right? So that's how your file tree works. Now when you get really deep in here, take a look up here at this address bar right at the top. Anybody know what that's called? It's got a cute name. It's called breadcrumbs, because it's the path. It's the full path that you've taken to that file. So if you wanted to tell some software where a file is, you could use those breadcrumbs to explain it, or to tell somebody verbally how to find it, right? Okay, so this is actually a very long path, and often those are problematic. So let's go back to the C drive. There are two ways to do it. You can click right here in your folder tree pane, or you can just click the C drive in your breadcrumbs and it will bring you back there. Notice that there's a little spinner right here. If you click the spinner, it drops down. And by the way, sing out if you discover a discrepancy between what I'm showing you in Windows 7 and what you've got in Windows 10 or 8 or whatever. Now, what I'm going to suggest that you guys do is to create a workspace folder in your root directory in C. And you can call it workspace or GIS workspace. The critical element, however, in the name of that file is that it has no spaces and that it's in has a short path to it. The shortest path you can do is put it right in the C drive. So to make a new folder, you can click the new folder button, or you can just right-click anywhere there and choose new folder. I called mine workspace. If you want to call it GIS workspace, that's fine, but no spaces, letters, numbers, and underscores only in the path. So GIS underscore workspace will work. God forbid you use a dot. That's just death right there. No dots. Did everybody make a workspace folder? So once you have a workspace folder, you can put all your files for GIS into your workspace folder. So you'll see in class that we'll be doing that. And this afternoon, we'll do a little PS1 problem set 1 preview, and we will do the put them all in workspace folder. Sorry. I also have on the lab computers, there's this GIS data folder. You'll see me using it in the lectures. The data that I gave you or had you download, did you figure out where to put it? Where'd you put it? Do you know where you put it? Workspace folder. So workspace is a great place for it. Let me show you something. So it's all right. No. It's on purpose.
Something else
Oh.
though, receiving authorization. Yeah.
That's all right. We'll make it. You either lost your internet connection temporarily or something. We'll make it work. Yeah. And we won't need the software until after lunch, so we'll have that time to fix it. Okay, so the next thing, we're actually going to do some things between here. The next thing I want to manage browser settings. So we're going to manage our browser settings. I think I have Firefox installed here too. Yeah. I would recommend that you never, under any circumstances, use Windows Explorer ever, unless you'd like to A, be annoyed for the rest of your life, and B, be attacked. It's not safe. So I recommend either Chrome or Firefox. And something that's going to make your life a lot easier is to manage your settings for downloading, because in GIS you're constantly downloading things. And the default is for everything to go to your downloads folder. So it's important to know where your downloads folder is in case you want to use it. It's also important to be able to manage where you put stuff without having to go through the whole step of putting everything in your downloads folder. So, so for instance, here's a random zip file, right? I want to download it. And so if I double click it and it allows me to download with this button over here, I click download, right? On my browser, it has a setting that lets me choose where to save it. It automatically says, where do you want to save it, right? But if you're using the default, which I think many of you probably are, it just automatically saves to the download folder. Your download folder, if you go back down here to, hi, oh, thank you. It's my lunch. This is my husband. Okay, thanks. So your download folder, if you go back to Windows Explorer, so down in the taskbar, click Windows Explorer, it's one of, these are called live, oh, well, they call them favorites, I guess, but it's one of the folders listed here. So you can always get to it there, right? If it's, sometimes it's missing, which is kind of a pain. And so if it's missing, I can help you find it. It's in your user folder, long story. And then you can set it as a favorite. But a lot of people also put things on desktop. That's what you do?
Yeah.
Do you ever, like, how quickly do you fill it up?
Well, that's, I don't know, I just do that, and then if it's like a set of files, just delete it after.
Ah, so if you maintain it, that's fine.
Right.
And I do that myself sometimes. But it really will build up if you just put stuff there and leave it, right?
Yeah, this computer is full, this stuff.
So, and you know, one good reason to use the downloads folder is that you know that if it's something you downloaded a year ago, you can just delete it and it's fine, and then get rid of that data. Anyway, so the downloads folder is great and everything, but it would be handy not to have to download everything to the downloads folder. So to fix that in Chrome, you go to the menu, and apparently people think we're now psychic, so they turn the menu into stupid little icons. And in Chrome, it actually comes in two forms. One is the ... and the other is little rows, so little lines. So if you hit this icon in Chrome and go to Settings right here, and I'll have to find it. Might be an advanced setting. Heuristic problem solving. Yeah, so click advanced settings and then keep scrolling down, and you'll see that one of the options is downloads, right? So here you can actually change the downloads folder. I don't generally need that, but look, there's a little checkbox. Ask where to save each file before downloading. If you check that, you are now in control of your life, and you can say, why don't you put that in my, you know, workspace folder instead, so you don't have to go roaming around your laptop finding the file and extracting it and blah, blah, blah. So check that box and then close it, and it's fine. Okay, in Firefox, which I use less often, here's that menu, right? It's the 3 lines. It's in the same place. And if you pause, it does say open menu. And then I believe it's under options. And incidentally, this privacy tab is where you can show your cookies and delete them. And then I think it's under the general tab. Yep. So see where it says save files to, and it's mapped to the downloads folder. Choose the radio button, always ask me where to save files. Does everybody figure that out? How to do that? And that way you have control, and it saves you a lot of steps. Okay. So once you have those settings in your browser and you have a workspace folder, here's what that workflow will look like. And this is an important workflow. You will do it dozens and dozens and dozens of times in class. What?
Under the general tab, you had a save button on, right?
I don't know. Let me see. Options, general.
Yeah.
Always ask me where to save files.
I have no okay, cancel, or help. So you think it'll just save it?
I think so. Yeah, I guess it will. Yeah. So, and that's how Chrome works. You don't, it's weird, it feels weird, right? But when you go to settings, you change settings, there's no save or okay button. It's just, it's like that. So, yeah. Okay. And you know what else? So little heuristic problem solving aside, when you run into something like that and I'm not like right here, try it, right? So see what the think about what you expect the setting to do, and then see if it does what you expect it to do, and if it doesn't, then you know it didn't work, right? So, and when you do that, you end up learning a ton about how the computer works. Okay, so now I've got this zip file, right? I've got this random zip file I've just chosen. Maybe I should choose an actual GIS zip file. So there might be something in the 230 folder. No, of course not. I haven't done anything yet. So I'm going to find some GIS data to download from a previous course. So this semester I decided I'd just give you yours. Okay, so here I have this census.zip folder. And well, you know, why don't we try it? I can give you all access to it. Copy link. And I don't know how I sign in. All right, never mind. I'm not going to sign in. I'm just going to shorten it. Okay, so go to this address, bit.ly to little c. Oh, I don't know if that's an I or an L. Oh, for crying out loud. They shouldn't do that. They shouldn't include I's and L's. Let's see, is there another way? Oh, sorry. Are you able to make it work? Because I can't tell if they're I's or L's.
Is that a 0?
That is a 0. That is not an O. So for sure that's a 0. You know, if they used a serif font here, that would be easier to see. Let me see if I can. So copy. Let me see if I can make that work. There we go. Aha, look at that. So that's a 1. So it's capital C1, 0, capital I-R. See? Heuristic problem solving. I rock. I want you to say that to yourself every time you got to do the football dance every time you solve one of these things. It keeps you going, I swear.
Yeah, me either.
Really? So bit.ly /2 lowercase c, oops, capital C 10 IR. Oh, for crying out loud. That's so helpful.
I thought it was an L too.
Yeah, no, it's 1 for sure.
Oh, no, it's L.
It's L? This is an L?
That's an L.
Oh, thank you. Lowercase L, apparently. Doesn't it look like a 1? We just cannot win. Good heuristic problem solving, Leslie. Did you get it? Yay. Okay. So once you, so done, double click it. Okay, so now you're ready to download it. So when you click download, what should come up should look more like what I've got here. And now let's put that in our workspace folder. And to find, what do you do to find your workspace folder?
I don't have the option.
Oh, you do. So yeah, I can show you that on, sorry. Let me show you that on Firefox because that'll look a little different. So on Firefox, it's 2 steps. So I'll hit the download button, and it comes up with this, and you choose to save file, and then click OK, and then it will prompt you, right? So it defaults this first time to the downloads folder, but once you've got it going to the workspace, it should default to that. And so where do I find my my workspace folder? Where is it? Where did we put it? We put it on the computer. Okay, so I can click computer. Okay. C. Hopefully not program files 86. It's,
oh, you should just say that. Oh, yeah.
Yep. So workspace here. And now if you're used to a Mac, you can click on the folder one time and save, and it will save in the folder. But on a PC, you have to open the folder. So you have to double click it and open the folder. And so there's my census folder and file, and I can click save here, and it will download. Notice that on Firefox, the downloads appear here. So with this little download icon, if you click that, it makes the list of them, and you can go click that to go to the folder. That's handy. Another way to do it is, oops, here, I'll click save here. Go to my workspace. So yes. So on Google Chrome, there's the same option, right? You can click the little downy button right here, and it pops up, and you can say show in folder. So either way, in either browser, so you can open the containing folder that way in Firefox, and on Chrome, you click that menu button, and it says show in folder. So you can go there. That's important because sometimes it's important to control how you decompress the file, right? You want to make sure you're decompressing the file in a way that, that A, you know where it is and doesn't make a mess. All right, everybody with me? Those settings? Okay, so now we have a zipped file, and we need to do something with it. If you double click on the file, you'll be able to see the, oh, no, it's not doing this. If you double click on the file, here we go. If you double click on the file without having a program that decompresses things, it will open in a way that looks like this. This is actually pretty awkward. This is the sort of installed version of the Windows version of the decompression utility, and it doesn't work as well as some others. What I recommend is a free application, free open source application called 7-Zip. There are others, and I don't care if you like another one, but I would recommend, if you don't have one, to download 7-Zip. And you can just Google 7-zip, and it will know just what you're talking about. And it's 7-zip.org. You can download it. If you don't know what kind of computer you have, if you're running Windows 10, you have a 64-bit. I think that's true of Windows 8 as well. Windows 7, I don't know. You got Windows 7?
I do. Windows 7, 32 or 64, you can choose. I have 64 on it.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, I was going to check for you, but you know what you have. Great. And you guys are all in the other ones, and those are 64 only. So probably you need the 64. You download it, it's 1 megabyte, it's super quick. And I swear I'll let you go to lunch very soon. and you can run it and so forth, and it installs on your computer. So if you're lucky, and I don't understand what makes you lucky versus not lucky, it will become a part of your context menu. Let me show you what I mean. So if I go back to Windows Explorer to my zip file, watch what happens when I right-click on this census file. 7-zip is an option, and it gives me all these really handy extract options here. But on some Windows computers, for some reason, 7-zip does not appear when you right-click. So you can typically right-click and choose Open With, and then choose 7-zip File Manager. And I think that would work. So did y'all install it and try it yet? Brandy, I love your cover. Where did you get it?
Amazon.
Really? I've never seen it. Must have. It's one of the sticker kind, right?
Yeah.
I'm sort of afraid of the stickers. They go on okay?
Yeah,
And
it goes on, peels off, clean. Yeah.
wow.
I've had the cases. It always gets gross on
Yeah.
the cases. So.
I'll be looking for that. I did not find that one before. How are we doing? You probably already had it from Hope's class. Yeah. It's universally the best utility. Yeah, yep. I used WinZip for years and years. Right now I'm partial to Windows, to 7-zip.
I want to extract the file, open the file.
So, okay, so once you get there, let me show you what your options are. Sorry, this is slipping down. It's not providing me with nearly enough help. So let me show you what some of the options are. And, what you want will depend. So if I want to extract it to a folder that's called Census, I can right-click and choose Extract to Census, like this. Are you all able to see it right-clicking? Yeah? Awesome.
I don't know how to wait.
Oh, 2 fingers. Tap, tap, click.
2 fingers? Tap,
Yep.
tap, click. Okay.
So it's both fingers need to be on it. So tap, tap, click.
Oh.
Yeah. The other way is to hold down the Control key and click.
I tried that and it wasn't.
Yeah, that's not reliable, and I don't know why. But the tap, tap, click, it takes some getting used to, but yeah, it works like a charm. I do it without thinking now. So that's one way. Another way that's handy is extract here. And so what you can check what happens when you do that. It unpacks all the separate files here. Another option is extract files ... And when you do that, it opens this little box right here, and you can navigate to some place you want, right? So I can navigate to some random place. I'll navigate to my downloads folder randomly. There. And so now I'm instructing it to download to extract it to my downloads folder, and I click OK. And if I go to my downloads folder, it'll be there. So if I go to downloads over here, there they all are. Pretty cool, huh? And of course, sometimes I do things and I put them in stupid places, right? And I need to move them. Oh, Leslie, did you have a question? Or?
Not sure. Okay, so I downloaded the Census to GIS workspace.
Great. Yeah.
You unpacked it. Yeah. I think so. Quick workspace. Yeah. So. Yeah, if you go back to your workspace again, I'll show you something. See how that has a zipper on it? Yes, it is. That's nice. Yeah. Okay.
So there's,
be able to open
and
it?
actually that reminds me of something else I was going to do. So So if yours looks different from mine, one of the reasons might be, look at my files and compare them to yours. How do they look different? The files, not the folders, but the files. Or the census file you just downloaded. You see that? What do you see that's different? So on mine, it says census.zip. Does yours say census.zip? No. I know Leslie's doesn't. Yours probably does, because maybe you've done this setting before? I don't know.
Sorry, what was it?
Does yours say census.zip, or does it just say census? Yours doesn't say
Oh, it
census.
just says census.
It just says census. Okay, good. Okay, so you have to be psychic to know what kind of file it is, or know what all the different icons mean, right? So there are a couple things that are really important. First of all, we'll start up here, over here where it says, if I wave my pointer, change your view, and I can click this little pull down option, and I get all these little items. Try some of them. Large icons, okay, that's not really that helpful. So these are really good for sorting through pictures, right? So if you have a bunch of pictures, it'll give you a little thumbnail of each picture if you show it by icon.
I'm sorry, I'm in Firefox and it doesn't have this option.
Okay, we're looking not at Firefox, but at Windows Explorer. And so you may not, it may be in a different place.
What do you mean?
So Windows Explorer, the little
Oh, yeah,
folder.
Windows Explorer.
Oh yeah, good.
I just
Okay.
said I'm using Firefox. Firefox is not Windows Explorer.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's not the point. That's not the point. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Gotcha. So, let's see. Okay. Can we click View? Sorry, when I click Windows Explorer, you think Internet Explorer. That's right. So need to left click View. There you go.
So yeah, it might be under the View menu. In Windows 7, apparently you don't have a View menu. Thanks for bringing that up. So experiment with the different options there and see what you get. And the one that you generally want the most when you're working with GIS is details. Look at all the information you get with details. Super helpful. It tells you what type it is, and you can click on these items to change their order based on each of these. It tells you how big it is. The default is to be sorted alphabetically by name. But you have all these different options, right? So if you're not sure what you're looking at, see, I don't even know what content does. It's not, what is that for? Anyway, so I'm going to choose details. And in fact, that's how I have my settings by default, to show all my folders like this. So right now, make sure you've chosen details as your view. And then you want, and I forget where it is on 10 and 8, but on here, it's the Organize button. And I want folder and search options. But you're all going to have something different. Let's see. What is it? It's options. Yeah, change folder and search options. Yours. Find it. So go back to the file. Go ahead and click it again. What? The word file? Oh no, I'm sorry. Home. Oh, no, view. There it is. And then options. There you go. Define
There you go.
And then once we actually click on it, so on, I think on all of yours, so anyone with Windows 7, it looks like mine, but on 8, 9, and 10, you have to click on View, and then in that ribbon is an Options option. And in any case, you end out with something that looks like this. Right? So hopefully we're all here now. Okay, so see how difficult this would be to try and do over the internet with the entire class? So see up here we have these tabs, and we want the View tab. And see where it says you can apply the views such as details or icons that you are using for this folder to all folders of this type. Good plan. That way, anytime you open a folder that has little files in it, it will apply the details. So click that. Click Apply to Folders, and you say yes.
Okay, were we supposed to put something first before that?
I don't know. So you want a folder take care of that? Oh yeah, you say yes. Yeah. View, click View, Apply to Folders. Yes. Okay. Good. And then another really important item in this list right here is where it says hidden files and folders. You can not show them or show them. One of the problems is that Windows thinks we're morons, and they hide things from us, often that we need. So later in the semester, we'll be making certain types of spreadsheets, and Windows by default hides those freaking things, which is stupid. So if you want to see them, show the hidden files and folders. When they're shown, they appear, but they look a little grayed out. So that's a little warning that it might be special or important, so maybe don't mess with it, right? That's why they hide things, but they hide too many things, often things that we need. So show hidden files and folders. Then the other default, and this is really the important one, see where it says hide extensions for known file types? That the file extension refers to the dot and 3 letters at the end of the name of the file. You want that. That's actually really important. That's why you couldn't tell for sure that that was a zip file, because it did not say .zip. And it looked an awful lot like the folder with the same name, right? So you want hide extensions for known file types to be unchecked. And you can click Apply, and I think we might have to click Apply to Folders again. And you say yes. And then click OK, and now poke around your computer. Look at some things, see what you see. Hopefully it applied that. Yep, so it's doing it for me for this folder anyway. Oh, it was already set. Is it showing you the file extensions now so you can see the .shp and so forth? Super handy. Really hard to do if you're on the other end of a YouTube video. Okay, and hopefully also, just to be meta, that shows you how, first of all, how everything changes all the time, right? So all of your computers had some different thing going on, and so I had to use heuristic problem solving to figure out what paths you guys needed to use, because they're different from mine. So that means that's a little example of things that are going to happen again and again and again across the course and your life, where you know the same, they're not going to get rid of a function like that in a new version of the software. So it must be possible yeah, click around and find it. Think about what you're trying to do, read what's on the screen, and figure it out. And you absolutely can. And it's worth the time to do it because you learn a lot as you do it, right? This is how I never have taken a class in computing, literally ever. So that's how I learned all of it. So, okay, so now you've got, where am I? So now you've got 7-zip. You've got file, I'll call it, that's right, I was going to do this. Settings for viewing. Files. Okay. And then the last thing, and this is just a quick thing, naming conventions. And this is really important for working with GIS. This is absolutely critical. No spaces, no dots, ever in any file name or folder name. Or folder names. You will incur my wrath. It will happen. You'll forget because you're used to just typing whatever, right? The dots thing rarely happens, but some people get the idea that that's it's cute or something. It's so not cute when your software has no idea what you're talking about, right? The dots tells the computer that there's a file type coming. So if you call it Tora.Johnson, it thinks that Johnson is a file type, and it is not. Okay, so no dots, no spaces, letters, numbers, and underscores only, and keep them short. So letters, numbers, and underscores only, and then keep it short. You'll hear me harp on this, and in GIS 1, it's no longer super critical. Things will actually kind of work okay. By the end of GIS 1, we'll start to see problems where somebody who's added a space or a dot to their file names or folder names, or made them super long, ArcGIS will stop finding their data, or their model won't work, or something. In GIS 2, because we're using raster data a lot in GIS 2, it will find nothing with a dot or a space in it, unless it's a particular file type, and it's a total nightmare. And then when you change it, if it's in a folder, right? Anything in that folder, if you change it, anything you've done in that folder has to be like re-linked up with all its data. It's a lot of work. So if you just go no spaces, no dots, letters, numbers, underscores, you're good. All right, we need to take a break. I'm thinking, did you guys bring lunches, or do you need to go for lunch? You go, okay, so let's say 45 minutes to 1 o'clock, is that all right? Okay. And I'm gonna stay here because my lunch is here, and I can stare out the window for a while.
The Commons, Dining Commons open?
I don't know.
Is there anywhere I have to buy something that says Davis I made somewhere?
Actually, that would be in the Commons. There's a little store there, so I don't know if they're open. But you know where the Commons is? Sort of. So if you walk directly across the mall, and then behind that building, so it's Senate there, right behind that building is Kilburn Commons. Yeah. So you can see if they're open. There's a great health food store down at the bottom of the hill. There's a Subway in town, and so forth. Oh, and I'm still filming, so I will stop. There we go.